See if anybody can catch. Oh, there's one.
Jonesy. Mike, what is Robert going to do during the team portion of practice tomorrow?
We'll do very similar to what he did today. Today's practice will be tomorrow's practice will be very similar to today. Initially, we were going to tomorrow's practice is going to be like normal Wednesday, Thursday, Friday during the season. But with us canceling Saturday's practice, Saturdays was today, and Mondays, of course, is Tuesday. So we're going to handle Wednesday, Thursday, Friday like we would during the season. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice.
So does that mean he'll go against the scout team as you would during a normal week, as he would as the starting quarterback?
He'll take a couple reps on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with each team period. Tomorrow will be the same as he's been.
So tomorrow will be 7 on 7, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, some 11 on 11.
Yeah. And walkthroughs like we did earlier today.
Gotcha. He said that throughout this whole pace, he hasn't totally understood or liked the way he's been brought along, but he understands it partially. What do you think of that?
Well, that's my job. Not necessarily do what he likes, but to do what's the best thing for him in this organization. My job is to get him ready for the first game, and that's what we're hoping we can do. Without a setback, I believe he will be ready for the first game. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that there is no setback, and we can have him for the first game of the season. But if there is a setback, then we'll have to adjust accordingly.
Mike, he's talked about Operation Patience.
Uh-huh.
How do you think Operation Patience is going?
I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've dealt with a lot of different people. And what you do is you kind of, you want to take care of them, and he's doing a great job. He's worked so hard in rehab, really proud of everything he's done. He's just kind of been off the charts. But, my job is getting him ready for the first game, and I just don't want to push him when we don't have to. I just like where he's at. He's making strides. Hopefully there is no setback and he can be ready. But if there is a setback, we'll have to adjust accordingly.
Can you update us on Roderick McElroy?
Yeah, sore shoulder. Hopefully there's not much of a setback. I think it's just sore at this time.
Robert is so headstrong and so darn talented. He really likes to push and lobby as hard as he can to get more. And even today was talking about still lobbying you to play in a preseason game. First of all, is that even an open possibility in your mind?
First of all, I love when somebody wants to play. I love it when somebody wants to be out there. That's a good problem to have as a head coach. When you want people out there, you want people competing, you want people working hard. But my job is to make sure that we do the best thing for Robert. And that's what I'm going to try to do.
He wants to play in a third preseason game. Is that even a possibility in your mind?
No possibility.
Just to be clear on Robert and what he's been here, what he's been cleared to do. When Dr. Andrews cleared him before, the week before training camp, went through everything, was that cleared to do anything up to and including playing in a game, or will that require another round of tests and being checked off to do that?
When a doctor does, he takes a guy like Robert, or you can take a look at Chris Thompson, you can talk about Brandon Merriweather, any of these players, the doctor's okay him to practice. And you take a look as a head coach, and you can see what he can do. And some guys, we don't have practice after a couple of days. We take a few days off. Other guys are well on their way that making progress. So everybody's a little bit different case. A lot of times when they say you're ready to go, these doctors, they say, well, I'm not sure if you can play in a preseason game. Well, when you practice every day, that is just like a game. I think practices are tougher than games, especially in these two-a-day practices. So when somebody says, well, you can't practice or you can't play in a preseason game, but you can practice, well, you practice at game day speed every day. So, that's my job, is to evaluate that, see where he's at, and get him ready for the first game.
Just to be clear, that's your clearance versus medical clearance, being medically cleared, but not cleared by you and the
Well, what Dr. Andrews said, that he would not recommend he play in any preseason games, but he can practice. But you can't practice full speed. So that was my initial talk with Dr. Andrews starting off.
I'm kind of playing off Rich here. So the plan is through medical advice. It's not your call. These are doctors' calls on Robert's plan right now.
Well, Dr. Andrews says his recommendation would not to play him in any preseason games and evaluate him on a day-to-day basis. But he is ready to practice, to drill work, get him stronger, make sure you feel good about where he's at.
And then once he makes that decision,
When who makes the decision?
When the doctor then will make another decision. If
No, doctors said evaluate him every day, just like they did when he came back after, versus Philly. They clear him, then you have to evaluate him every day. You talk to the doctors, you talk to Robert. But at the end of the day, our game plan's still the same like we talked about. Hopefully he's ready for the first game of the season. If there's no setbacks, he'll be ready. And he's going to have to trust me there.
When he talks, you can tell he's frustrated. He hasn't been critical. It sounds like he's trying to make sure he remains respectful. What's the key to staying on the same page even if you're not on the same page?
Well, that's what my job is. My job is to make sure he's ready to play. I could bring Robert back 3 weeks ago. We could be sitting here right now in practicing 2-3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden something happens at ACL, and we're sitting saying, well, maybe we should have waited an extra week or two. I know when the first game is, I'm going to do what I think gives him the best chance to be ready for the first game. Give him the proper reps, the proper practice plan, and I like competitors, though. I like people that want to go. The great ones do that. The great ones want to practice. They want to play. And Robert does petition you guys. I like it. It's good. Especially you.
And Mike, Robert's characterized this as basically like a bargain between you two. He said, if I keep my word and do what you say, then you have a word to keep to him to play him in week 1 if he gets there. Is that a fair characterization? And
Say that again?
Robert has characterized the arrangement here basically as a
First
bargain.
of all, there's no arrangement. Okay?
Yeah.
I give an idea what Robert, we talked privately about what I thought our game plan was before. I don't share that with anybody. I haven't shared it with any coaches. There's nobody that I've shared this with. I've just shared it with one person. That's Robert, my game plan. So,
The way he says it to us, at least, is that if he does everything you ask him to do, then you will keep your word and play him in week 1. Is that something?
well, I've already said this. My plan, hopefully, our game plan is to play him week 1. I want to play him week 1.
Yeah.
But if there's a setback, we might not be able to play him week 1. Maybe not to week 5 or 6. I'm hoping that there's no setback. If there isn't, I think we got a good game plan. We'll just have to work it day by day.
Coach, any update on Dante Stallworth? I saw him, running a little bit on the side, and also Philip Thomas.
Same thing, hamstring, sore. Philip Thomas is going to see Dr. Anderson in Carolina tomorrow just to look at that midfoot sprain. And hopefully there's no setback there, but we'd like a specialist to look at it just to make sure.
Mike, Brandon Merriweather seemed to do more for a longer period in the team drills today. Did you consider that a significant increase, and how do you think you look?
Yeah, we gave him more reps today. I thought he looked good. He had one breakup today that I was impressed with down the field. So hopefully there's no setback, and he can keep on getting better.
Mike, if Jordan Reed continues to practice as he did today, full reps, can he possibly play Monday against the Steelers?
I think so. If there's no setback after today, and he keeps on practicing throughout the week, there's no reason why he shouldn't play.
With Nick Barnett finally getting into play, what are you going to look for in these first few days from him? What does he need to do to?
Well, I think we're getting back in football shape. I'm not sure if there will be a setback tomorrow. Hopefully he's not too sore. But I think we're going to be very careful on him, just coming off of minor surgery. And so we'll evaluate him on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Mike, what did you think of Rex the other night?
I thought Rex did a good job. Yeah. The one where Lance lines up off the ball, that could have been a touchdown there. He got rid of the ball in some very tough situations where not many people would have the awareness to get rid of the ball like he did. I thought he did a good job.
Mike, how come a guy like Rex is able to survive as long as he has, not just here but in the NFL, in your estimation?
How does a guy survive?
How does a guy like that survive? And keep hanging on to a roster spot, keep making himself indispensable to a roster?
Well, I think anytime you're part of the 90, you're competing with all the other players. And if at the end of the day you're one of the top 53, then you've earned that spot. Every time you go into the camp, you're starting over. I don't care if you're a first, second, third team quarterback. You've been in the league for 10 years, 12 years. You got to go out and prove yourself, both in practice and in games. And that's not only